Hello, let's continue with JSML. Okay, so by now I think broad that you have to understand by now that Mill was just trying to, let's say he was Aristotle, where Bentham was Plato. What is J.S. Mill trying to do till now? He is just trying to correct Bentham's utilitarianism. Why? Because it was being called as Pig's theory. ठीक है? Why? Because his version of utilitarianism was completely based on pleasure and pain. Man is a pleasure seeking guy. Now we have done this part. We understood what J.S. Mill came towards. He wanted to defend. He wanted to defend. But what he ended up doing was, देखो, absolute liberty, absolute freedom. He wanted. ठीक है? This is aim. He wanted this thing. But he realized what will be the problems if you grant absolute liberty. Problems. To rectify problems, what his solution was? Bifurcate into two: self regarding and others regarding. What are these? Actions, human actions. Now understand this thing. Self regarding me, he is giving total sovereignty. Do what you want. You own your body. You are the sovereign master of your body. But in others regarding, state can intervene. State can interfere if your actions can impact anyone else other than you. ठीक है? Now understand scope. What There is no definition what actions can be constituted as others regarding. So understand utilitarianism. Bentham's utilitarianism was based upon utilitarian principle, that is utility. What does this mean? Your actions will be going towards things that give you pleasure. What is this? Actions. What is this? Pain. Here you don't want to go. Your actions will be towards things that give you pleasure. ठीक है? Profit. Now understand this thing. For this to happen, for man to be able to perform actions that can lead towards things that grant him pleasure, what is the core requirement? The core requirement is liberty. You should be free. Then only you can pursue anything that will give you pleasure. Let's say you want to do, let's say you want to give exam, UPSC exam. Okay. Now for that you need to have liberty, right? There is one thing, criteria. Criteria is, let's say, 22 age or 21, whatever it is. Then Indian nationality. ठीक है? नेपाल वाले भी शायद. are allowed, then these things are criteria. Understand? Now, liberty is, let's say, only men are allowed. Okay, for some jobs, let's say army, even those are changing. So just take the broad idea. Let's say you say only men are allowed, or let's say only propertied men are allowed. Let's say, then most of the, because at 22 you won't be having property, 23 you won't be having property, so you do not have the liberty. And because you do not have the liberty, you cannot even begin the task or perform the action of writing. What? Pre. Now, action is coming only when you have freedom to perform that action. Now, we have discussed this. Liberty will come before utility. You will try to go for things that give you pleasure only when you have freedom, liberty. Now, Mill wants what? Absolute liberty. Okay? He wants absolute liberty. But when he is talking about absolute liberty, he understands that there are bound to be problems. ठीक है ना? Let's say anti-national slogans you start singing. Lots of them can occur. Okay. He came to conclusion कि भाई problems है. Then what his solution or prescription is that let's bifurcate actions into two: self regarding, others regarding. And इसके अंदर you allow कि state can limit your rights. State can interfere. How will it interfere? It will only limit your rights, right? So you started for absolute liberty and you started defending Bentham, but you ended up what? What did you end up doing? You remember Hobbes? How did he start? He started like an individualist. What do individualists believe in? That man is prior to state. ठीक है? Man is important. Man is the center of everything. What did he end up doing? Making Leviathan. Absolute power to the state. Absolute powers to the state. When you are giving absolute powers to the state, what right do you have? You have no rights. But yet, Hobbes, because he is an individualist, so absolute right for life you give. ठीक है? That part of individualist he keeps and maintains. So he started like this, concluded like this. See Mill, he starting by giving justification for Bentham's big philosophy, that is utilitarianism, because he also believes in that. And for utility, what is important? Liberty. So he analyzes कि भाई liberty पे Locke has said something, but his liberty was only talking about property, freedom to own property, nothing else. You cannot talk about liberty and just limit it to property. ठीक है? This is kind of limiting liberty. You are limiting liberty with just laying lot of emphasis upon property. ठीक है? Now here comes his contribution where he will be giving the most important aspect of liberty. Freedom of speech and expression. Now Understand? You are Hitler, you are Mussolini, or let's say you are Kim Jong Jong, you are North Korean leader, or let's say you are Putin, or let's take Saudi Arabia's Prince Salman. Analyze. These are his people, let's say. These are his people. These, let's create some for Putin also. Now you understand Germany, Italy, Mussolini, North Korea, Putin, Russia, and Saudi Arabia. Think now, do you feel that if this guy starts talking about Hitler, or let's say raising his concerns about his administration, what will happen to him? Same now you think about him, 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 and now Modi also. You think, okay, this is kidding part where I'm kidding, okay, but what one thing can you take out from this? One thing that I want you to take out from this, that by you are dictator, you are having absolute power, you can do anything that you want. Why would you allow this person to raise concerns that can unite more people, or let's say show that you are weak? You won't allow this. ठीक है? What is this thing that he wants to lay his disconcern in public? What is this thing referred to as? अरे भैया, he is just articulating articulating his opinions, or let's say griefs. Role of media, press. Now let's think, can media and press be independent, that they are showing true reality, or let's say grief of this person that he's wanting to lay forward against him, or anywhere here? This is North Korea. This won't be happening. So what one more thing that we want to gather from here is that because freedom of speech and expression Mill will be forwarding, he will be coming across democracy. Now, has anyone talked about democracy before? Locke. Lots of persons have talked about democracy, but in our theory, we have encountered only Locke. Okay, okay, Republic, Greece may also were there, but let's not go there. ठीक है? Because democracy only allows this thing, that people can lay forward their issues, their grievances. You can't expect this in a dictatorship. ठीक है? Any fascist regime, army regime, no, never. So let's understand his gift. According to him, speech and expression is most precious gift. Of whom? Of God to man. Now, why most precious? Because we see that there are other animals. but they do not talk. They make sounds, but they do not have speech. ठीक है? Only man has speech. So it is a gift from God to man. This is whose view? Male's view. Now understand why why is this liberty or freedom, or let's say this right, is important? Which rights? Speech and expression. Because it is most precious gift of God. God has given you first thing. Okay. Now if these are men and these are, let's say, animals, all of them have speech. He has speech, he has speech. He does not, he does not, he does not. Now let's say there is a state which does not allow this person to have speech. His right has been cancelled. कि भाई, you cannot say anything in public. Now, is there any difference between this and this? This is an animal. Now, with this thought experiment, may suggest that a state which is not giving speech and expression ki liberty is not treating human as human. What is it treating human as? Animal. Because they don't have this thing, this gift. Okay. Now, understand again. Harm principle is speech and action. Yes, speech and expression is also a action, human action. He has bifurcated human action into two. What is one? One is self-regarding, and other is others regarding. Now apply harm principle here. Talk to yourself, whatever your views are, until they are with yourself, you are completely fine. No issues. Other regarding. What are these now? Let's say you are trying to mobilize people for recruitment into your Islamic State of, let's say, India. कुछ भी ले लो. Taliban India branch. You can do anything. Or let's say, what is that? Batman's arch enemy. Who was it? Joker. So you are creating, recruiting jokers. We will rob banks. You will rob SBI. You will leave sign there. A Aryan. Okay. Who knows what you can do? It will harm others. It will harm others. It will harm their peace of mind. It will threaten them. But we see cases where this word is used, manhani, or let's say your self respect has been hurt by some remarks. We see movie stars often apologizing Many things happen. Sometimes they say something about, let's say, Soru Nigam did say something about, let's say, Azan, or let's say Amir Khan said something about India not being so tolerant, or let's say you are Supreme Court judge and somebody starts saying bad things about you. It, it is not just about you. You are a institution. Supreme Court is an institution. It is supposed to be very clean. No tag the kalank. Okay. Now, how do you rectify this? So, your Article 19, what do you have? Article 19, freedom of speech and expression. There is there is this one word that is written, reasonable restrictions. State can interfere and stop you. ठीक है? You are not absolute free. There are some reasonable restrictions, mostly in regards of India's, let's say, unity and integrity, because this is one of the core idea that is India. Okay, so with that being said, if there are so many problems with an absolute freedom of speech and expression, तो why talk about it? ठीक है? Why start talking about this thing? Now, understand advantages of speech and expression. We have seen property. Property can do what? It can only generate, let's say, income for you, provide job for someone, give you a sense of security, financial security, anyhow. Okay. What else? Status, symbol. Okay. Now understand speech and expression. You take birth. Why? Because you want to lead a good life. Now, how to lead a good life? We are talking about Socrates only. He wanted to know about what is good life. So, a person who understands true knowledge, what is right and what is wrong, who will tell? Soul will tell. We have done this thing. And hence he came up with dialectics. If you all remember how you engage in dialectics, and what will emerge is truth, the real truth. This one. ठीक है? Who will tell? Soul. Now understand, Socrates was also an influence on Mill. See, understand why he is being called inconsistent always. Inconsistent thinker, why is he being called as many times? Because utilitarianism he was trying to defend. He wanted to make it more, let's say, humane, moral. Now, how do you do that? Either you completely change it, remove it, but uska naam then won't be utilitarianism. You want to keep the element same, so what do you try to do? You try to incorporate some things that you think are wonderful. Now, where to get that from? World of ideas. World of idea. Who? Socrates, Plato. Yeah. Now, what was the line that Socrates said? We have done this very, very thoroughly. We have done this. That a life, or let's say, an unexamined life, an unexamined life is not worth living. This has been said by Socrates. Why? Because he wanted to have the freedom to ask questions. ठीक है? If there is a patha, let's say Sati Vrata, somebody must have questioned na कि is this right? Is this wrong? Why is this done? Somebody must have asked this. What was the requirement for him to question this concept? Freedom. ठीक है? So it is good thing to have speech and expression. It helps you rectify. Section 377. Who made this law previously? Human only made, right? British colonial rule. Now you humans only are changing that. Why? How? Because you can question. You can question freedom of speech and expression. In Saudi Arabia, in Saudi Arabia, recently only, to make public little bit happy, because nearby Arab Spring was going around, revolution. So Saudi Arabia was fearful कि भाई this revolution will come here also. The revolution was demanding that भाई monarchy bye bye, republic hello. ठीक है? Here people do not have this kind of right, and hence what we see is that women are subject to very, very regressive laws. Very regressive laws. Only last year, I think, last or last to last year, Prince Salman allowed allowed women to drive. It was illegal to drive cars by women. They are not allowed to go outside of country without a companion. Earlier it was male companion, that too family. So you see how male gives us advantage of speech and expression. Now understand, stability, if you want to create, what will stability do? It will make sure na कि whatever you are working today, whatever work you will do, so that surplus you will generate, उस surplus का you will get property only. It should not be like कि 50-60 years you work, then some revolution comes and this thing goes away. ठीक है? Because capitalist class are emerging. You want that system to stay in place अच्छे से, ताकि you have accumulated so much property that retains. So, do you see any stability here? Do you really think that Saudi can keep making these people happy in an age of globalization. Now, in fact, globalization 2.0, do you really feel that these people will never have internet or won't get to see other people or how other people in USA, India, they are living? They will definitely see one day. They will get that conscience, that realization, and they will make sure that this thing changes. Heredity system, their kingship. This does not sound very stable. ठीक है? Because here too long it takes, too long for reforms, too long it takes for reforms. Most of the Islamic world, that is Middle East, even though they have so much resources, they are rich, whole lot of rich, yet in some manners they are not as, let's say, compatible, or let's say as incorporating values from other cultures. And it is not about just values, lots of freedom. Even in India, people have started teaching girls, increasing their age for marriage, ठीक है, very happily investing in their education. Yet we do not see that kind of enthusiasm there. ठीक है, you try always to relate with current world. It becomes easy to remember. Otherwise, you will always be engaged in rote rectification. Okay, now if that is clear, ठीक है, idea you get why democracy we will be favoring, why we want to change liberty, or let's say incorporate the most important aspect, or that is why, let's say, we call that if there is anyone liberal, it is Mill. Mill is liberal, although father of liberalism, John Locke. Now, understand, Sati, who is benefiting? Yeah, we are the beneficiary. Now, although this is not entirely because of speech and expression, ठीक है, क्योंकि we were in colonial rule, so it is not like we had much freedom, but still, I hope for the sake of argument you understand the point that it is a good thing. Speech and expression, it helps you stay aligned. ठीक है? Now, all silencing, I think I should write the full statement first. All silencing is an assumption of infallibility. Same thing, whatever I have explained is this thing. Infallibility, you try to understand. It is basically you are thinking yourself as too intellectual, you know everything. Basically, you do not want to accept that other person may be saying something of value. ठीक है? Basically, you are never wrong. Siddharth Shukla from Big Boss. Okay. You are never wrong. This feeling, who is never wrong? Bhaiya, God is never wrong. You are treating yourself as God. So all silencing is an assumption of infallibility. ठीक है? You are thinking that you are God. That is why you are making anyone silent. ठीक है? Whereas the truth is that maybe truth can hurt you, or truth can negate your justification that you have for power. Religion, church. Church was under control. There was a person, Hobbes. He wrote a book called Leviathan. Now, this book, Leviathan, was banned by church. Banned. Why? Why? Why would church ban Leviathan? Because Leviathan में Hobbes has clearly said that by who is Leviathan? State. State is absolute authority. Absolute sovereign is state. Church also comes under state. ठीक है? You are church. You are in power. You are silencing because you consider yourself to be never wrong. Today, what is happening? You are wrong. Okay, we try to give other views also, but basically, speech and expression, you have to explain अच्छे से. Now, understand the best stable system of government would obviously be democracy because we have seen that. Okay, and sorry, obviously, because of my low voice, my throat is not well. Okay, now understanding democracy, that part it will be stable. मतलब kind of other things say that makes sense, I guess. But understand this thing again. Democracy. Let's try to think of India. Who do you have in India? Who is ruling India right now? In one word, if I want to ask you, are Hindus ruling, or Muslims ruling, or Sikhs ruling, or Christians? So obviously answer is Hindus are ruling. Now why would you say that? Vote bank, TJP. As simple as that. Now understand, these are not minorities. 200 million people. USA has total population of 300 million. उनका 66% population के equal we have this demographic. Okay, now then why we are saying that these are ruling? Because we know that it is no need to explain. Now understand this thing. Can we say that majority, who is majority population wise? Hindus. Can we say this thing that majority, that is Hindus, have, because in Lok Sabha complete majority you have, so any law that you want to pass as a bill you can, and you have done. So can we say majority dictatorship. Can we say this? Now understand, majority dictatorship, if we say, so first thing that we have to understand is who will be the subject. Obviously, you cannot make any law which this group is not happy with. And let's say if you start making any law which this group or this group is not happy with, what can they do about it? They can go to, let's say, Supreme Court. But if it is lawful, what can Supreme Court do? Nothing. So basically, what law will come? Whatever these will decide. Why? Because you are in majority in Lok Sabha. What is the point that I am trying to make you understand? That this is democracy. Democracy. But who is ruling? This word why we are using dictatorship. Majority is dictatorship because they can't do anything. What can they do technically? They can, okay, protest. They are within their right. But against what? If everything is done lawfully, with procedure established by law being followed, if that concept you understand, and this is not to take very personally or any ideology affiliated, ठीक है, motivated stance, okay, just try to understand things. These are very contemporary issues and in fun way, that is why I'm using it, nothing else. ठीक है, if that part is in the back of your mind, try to understand democracy फिर से. 200 million Muslim population we have, yet we are saying that these guys are in power with they have full majority. Understand how did this happen? Because it is all about numbers. Not all are voting. First thing. Plus, if you see, they don't have a leader. There is no leader that is directly aiming for this vote bank. Whereas there are leaders who are aiming directly for this vote bank. But that we will see in vote bank politics if I take it. Basically, democracy is a numbers game. ठीक है, यहाँ पे nothing is right and wrong नहीं. It is a game. It is a game of numbers. Now, I just said that you can create because it is a game of numbers. So it is lawful to come in power. Now, when you are in power, we are seeing and we can say that it is a majority dictatorship. You are doing whatever you wish. It is completely lawful. Now, Supreme Court also can't do anything if you are doing lawfully anything. Now, who will protect these people? These people, there are Jains, there are others also, let's say Parsis, refugees, we are a group below. Who will protect these people? This is because I am just going to discuss about democracy and we see a very huge fault here. we see a very huge fault that it can easily become majority dictatorship, right? Now, who will protect? I am going to create law that will, let's say, tomorrow say that there are no more mosques allowed. What can you do? If it is lawful, then only Supreme Court also cannot do anything about it. So what do you need? You need certain kind of protection. You need protections. Before going into a democracy, you need certain kind of protections. What will you call these protections? Rights. So understand, we are talking about rights, but we are talking rights from the angle that why we have to protect minority. कैसी minority? Minority of population. Obviously, what else minority? ठीक है? So you have to protect minority population. For that you need rights. Because understand na, why would majority impose any law that will hurt them? They will only impose law that will give them pleasure, happiness, right? But let's say if some law that they pass, what is this law? This is nothing but action of state. Let's say some law you are passing which is giving you pleasure, but this is others regarding kind of others regarding action. This action will be giving pain to these. It is not allowed. Okay, so who can intervene? In case of people, state can intervene. Now if state is itself in direct conflict with person, who will intervene? Rights will intervene. ठीक है? Rights, as simple as that. Now if that is clear, understand, if one person is ruling these persons, what do we call it? We can say that by this person, let's say again Hitler. Let's not call him Hitler, let's say Kim Jong Un, North Korea. ठीक है? Now this person is ruling upon these persons. Now can we say that by this is a dictatorship? Yes, we can call it. Similarly, we are saying, let's say BJP, there are a lot of people plus their supporters. ठीक है? So let's say they are ruling supporters plus minorities. Let's say they are not wanting this power to stay in power, but by you do not vote, what can you do? तो कमल, ठीक है? Now try to understand this thing. Dictatorship, tyranny, my word, my law. ठीक है? Now here also same thing. My law, my words, my law. They will be acting as one unit. But this is democracy. Is there any difference between the two except the part that भाई यहाँ पे lots of people are in power, here only one person is, ठीक है? But भाई here also ना we saw Gandhi family, ठीक है? One person only, grandfather, grandchild, great grandchild. So what is the difference that there is between the two that JS Mill want us to see, so that we see that by this thing is very cool. Here there is the concept of rights. Here there are no rights. Again same thing, speech and expression. यहाँ तो नहीं होगा. Where it will be? Here. Because here election is a part of the whole democratic process. You use your speech and expression so that parties extract points or issues to talk about. ठीक है? We extract. What do we read in the Hindu? Issues. How do issues come forward? When people say things, economic slowdown. ठीक है? Now these telecom industry saying that they are very stressed because of the recent verdict. अरे, I think it is stuck. No. ठीक है? Telecom sector verdict. Now they are able to articulate their feelings, their grievances. These will become issues. People will talk about it. Arnab Goswami, Republic TV, he will take debate on those. ठीक है? For market economy also it is good. So we see this point, if that is clear. Mill has been called as reluctant Democrat. Now we see that freedom of speech and expression he has talked a lot about. Then we see democracy also, because if this is his viewpoint, then obviously democracy is the best. ठीक है? Compatible काफ़ी है. No, nothing else would be compatible. Yet he has been called as reluctant Democrat. What is reluctant? That is someone who hesitates, not willing to. मन नहीं है. ठीक है? Democrat who wants democracy. Now understand why this word. अरे यार ये क्यों? Think my system is slow. What is happening? Now understand who has talked about democracy before. Mill. Locke has talked about democracy. Locke talked about limited state. Very limited state. ठीक है? Night watchman. चौकीदार. Not like Modi. But basically just guard my property. इतना. Nothing else. If that is in your mind, understand what kind of democracy did Locke saw and wanted. So he wanted grassroots or let's say direct democracy. Who else wanted this kind of democracy? Gandhi. गांधी है ना, विलेज रिपब्लिक. पंचायत सिस्टम. Gandhi's viewpoint, grassroots democracy, direct democracy. Locke wanted that kind of democracy. Now, with that in your mind, come back to Mill, who has been called as reluctant democrat. Array, but my democracy is having speech and expression. My democracy, hence, is driving to be a democratic form of. क्या issue है? Is trying democratic form of government, democratic system. Now, grassroots or direct democracy. Just think directly Gandhi, because better you will be able to understand from Gandhi. Same concept, village republic. Now, what is the keyword? Keyword is village. Now, tell me, where do you live, or where do you want to go to in future, in life? Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore. Basically, cities, urban, urban towns. ठीक है? Outside, New York, London, Paris. Here the keyword is village. Village is small group of people living together in harmony. Panchayat system. What is Panchayat system? One person that you know, everybody know, because it is a very small community of people living together. A person that you have chosen as elected head. Who has chosen? Everyone. Because you are only 200, 300. This makes sense. But when your size is that small, village, keyword village. Why I am using Gandhi? Because Gandhi view is same like Locke, but from Gandhi he has used the correct word, village republic. So from village it is easy to understand this point. If that is understandable, understand Mill. Mill says that my way of life is changing. ठीक है? We are moving towards a urbanized way of life, obviously, because we are not working on farms, because industrialization, machines, etc. ठीक है? Colonization you are embarking upon. ठीक है? Now, professions also will get specialized. In India, only Varna system was there. ठीक है? Meanwhile, we were in agrarian only state. ठीक है? Slowly, as trade developed, we saw more of the world. New desires and expectations came. New things. Let's say you saw some kind of material that you want to wear in cold or winters. Let's say some Kashmiri shawl, or let's say some kind of sari. In south there are lots of wonderful saris. Let's say something like that. Now who will be sieving that sari? Who will be making that shawl? That kind of work will become specialized, and hence castes will emerge. Specialized caste is what? Specialized work that you are doing. Very specialized work. Specialized work. Varna system, only few works were there. Studying, fighting, business, and let's say farm activities. ठीक है? Dalits are different. Dalits is not part of your Varna system. They are excommunicated community. Were, okay? That is why the huge reparations, that makes sense, okay? Part of society you are not keeping. What kind of brutality? If that a thing is clear, ठीक है? Technically, women also are not part of it because women belong to Shudra. ठीक है? Shudra class women belong to. Shudra class is fourth class here. Laborers, agricultural laborers. Okay, those who work in fields. Technically, this is the definition. But that aside, same thing, you understand, specialization will emerge because industrialization has been occurring, and because profession are getting specialized and population is rising. So is it possible for you to, let's say you are a doctor, is it possible for you to work as doctor from morning 7 a.m. to night 11 p.m. and then free some time to know about what is going around in society, when the water will come, how much seeds are available in your storage for the next crop season? No, you won't have time for this. Even if you take some time out, you won't be able to become expert in this. ठीक है? So you need some kind of specialized people to raise your concerns. ठीक है? इनकी जॉब होगी that they will look into the matters of people. Who are our member of parliaments? They are those people. They are specialized in that. It is their job. ठीक है? You cannot put much focus into profession of politics. You cannot. You need someone. And when this person is on your behalf standing in parliament, what do you call him? ठीक है? On your behalf he is there, na? Your issues he is raising. Not, let's say, exactly you. Let's say you are Raj. So not, he won't be saying that I am representing Raj. He is representing your neighbor, your upper floor partner, people, those are living on upper floor, ground floor, nearby neighbor, opposite the road, the house. ठीक है? Basically whole of your constituency. What do you call him? Your representative. Earlier in Sarpanch, or let's say this is Sarpanch, this is the electorate, every person, whole village is here. Whole village, every person is able to say कि भाई my issue is this, my issue is this, I feel this, I feel this. You do not have time because you two are specialized. ठीक है? So you need someone to be your representative. This kind of democracy we are calling as our grassroots democracy, or village panchayat by Gandhi, or let's say direct democracy. Why? Because there is direct participation of person in processes of law, whether lawmaking or executive. He is giving some input. What you call this kind? You call it representative democracy. and this is Mill solution. Now, which one do we relate more to? So we can say we are relating more to both. ठीक है? We have history of both and 73rd Amendment, 74th Amendment. Locke का idea also we have taken, not from exactly Locke, but let's say Gandhi. And representative also our model is, because representative model, British model, British model, British model is our model, British our daddies. ठीक है? Only transfer of power happened. We did not change the system. Same system we are following. Okay. Now, if that is clear, come back to again. कि भाई why reluctant? सब कुछ तो you are saying nice sir. You are talking about representative democracy, which sounds practicable. Practical. This sounds practical. It is more, let's say, real. Grassroots and direct democracy that Locke was saying, that did not make much sense, sir. It is not very practical. This is practical. Why reluctant? Understand this thing now. Mill was a British. What were British doing? Colonizing. Colonizing whom? African region, Asian regions. You try to remember India. So, do you want India to also be democratic and have liberty? No, you won't want that. So, what do you say? You will say, you will give some, let's say, now you will play politics. What you will say? That society needs to be democratic first. Before introducing democracy, or let's say self government. What is democracy? Nothing but self government. If you want to implement this thing, the society needs to be like that. Try to think Bangladesh, Pakistan. You create democracy here. How long are they able to remain stable? Not very long. We have seen that. Why? Society is not democratic there, but should be technically, because our next region only it is our Indian subcontinent. So some struggle is there. Sometimes army takes over, sometimes civilian government is there. But the tussle is going on. Now think about Afghanistan. यहाँ तो definitely society democratic definitely is not. That is why democracy and self-government is finding issue there to get good hold. Okay, now that thing makes sense, but understand, he's giving it as an advice. It is advising. He is advising that if society is not democratic, this democracy should not be introduced. Now, understand, democracy comes with speech and expression. Speech and expression was gift of God to man. Democracy is articulation of that gift only. ठीक है? Democracy articulates that gift. So it is not a free gift. You have to apply a lot of mind, reason, ठीक है? Your own. It is not God given. God gave you speech and expression. You are using that to get democracy. Mill says that this is not a free gift. Not a free gift. Now understand why was he saying this. If you start putting democracy freely without earning it, again same example I'll take, Afghanistan. You establish democracy there freely. Their people were not wanting it. You are establishing it. What is the result? Civil war. Civil war. Taliban. Instability. How does Mill justify this? Mill says, now understand India only. Indian people are not at all democratic. They do not care technically. ठीक है? They just do some victimhood mentality and seek help. Indian society is corrupt, as simple as that. Because we are a soft state. Soft state technically is a state which is very soft on criminals. ठीक है? Life sentence is 14 years. ठीक है? And day you count one, night you count one. 7 years. What are we talking about? 3.5 years, half. You get parole. What are you saying? ठीक है? So people are in jail for 100 rupees bail, which they are not able to pay because they're poor for those simple reasons. Okay, anyway, what Mill is worried about is that let's say India is there and India में Congress, then Congress, फिर नेहरू, फिर वही Congress. Let's think of China, or let's think of Nazi Germany. Democracy was there, gave rise to what? Hitler. India, democracy is there, gave rise to Indira Gandhi and Modi. फन वे में बोल रहा हूँ, किडिंग. सेडेशन चार्ज आ जाए मेरे पे. नाउ अंडरस्टैंड. मिल इज वरीड कि भाई सोसाइटी इज नॉट डेमोक्रेटिक. ये तो चलो एंटायरली बारबेरिक थी, सो हेंस सो मच प्रॉब्लम. What about the countries where people are very, let's say, unaware, kind of, you can say, very unaware? What will happen there? So their tyranny of majority will happen. Now he was fearful of this thing, tyranny of majority. ठीक है? Why? Because these people will easily be fooled on very irrelevant thing that has nothing to do with their, let's say, eat, sleep or rave. Nothing to do. Ram temple. ठीक है? Changing name of Allahabad to Prayagraj. Care. Tyranny of majority. Fearful. That happens. Okay, he was not wanting that. Not for India, but you have to take that from the viewpoint of India. Now, how does he make sure? अब उसकी mentality सोचो. Think about his mentality. First thing is clear that you are not thinking societies are equal. All societies are not equal. Not all people are equal. First thing, ठीक है? Because some people are democratic, some are not undemocratic. There must be some criteria. What is that? Rationality only. Why can we say this thing? Because you are follower of the traditions of Socrates and Plato, because we know that your influences are those guys. Chalo, this point also we understand. But right to vote. Now this is a crucial point. This is, let's say, the starting point where you start forming the state or government. Any action will be taken when government is there. Government will take action, whether this action is lawmaking or execution. State needs to be in function. For that, your initial point is right to vote. Now, who do you give it to? Understand? Bole, unaware. Who are those people? Do you think Ambani is this kind of person? Unaware? No, he is not. Do you think Shah Rukh Khan is? No, he is not. Who do you think is? Do you think Babu Rao of Hera Fairy is? So yes, he is. Or let's say one farmer, ठीक है, who knows or has seen nothing except his fields. He do not have in his last 60 years of his life, he has never set foot outside his district. He knows nothing about the world. These kind of people will be easily susceptible to these charming. Remember, Hitler was very great orator. What is orator? Speaking skills. You are giving speeches, wonderful speeches that make people go crazy. ठीक है? They become your fan. That kind of skill he had. Who? Hitler. Or let's say Modi. Again, my favorite, but nothing in common, obviously. Very great person. What his skill is? Great orator, ability to mobilize people, not on cause. मुद्दे की बात नहीं करता. What does he talk about? Feeling, emotion, feeling. Sometimes your religion, sometimes your nation, either Hindu or India. Religion or nation. Now, what these kind of leaders do, they are very maneuvering, or let's say manipulating. They can easily manipulate. Now, obviously, Ambani, अरे यार ये फिर बंद हो गया. Understand? Ambani, and not even Ambani, let's say middle class. Ambani, middle class, who lays special emphasis on education, government jobs, these kind of people, they won't ever be susceptible to it, but sometimes they also do. But what about the majority who are poor, who are farmers, who are very poor? ठीक है, 200 से 700 rupees daily income, ठीक है, even less, ठीक है. What about those highly susceptible, and if they are in majority, you only need to get their vote, and they know nothing. They do not understand things in detail. They don't understand कि भाई RBI कैसे work, how does RBI work. They can't. They don't have that education. Now these uneducated people are also allowed to give vote. That means uneducated people can also come in power. What will that lead to? Mobocracy, lynching, mob lynching, bheed, rule of mob, rule of bheed. Okay, so this is his justification that I was so fearful of mobocracy, I was so fearful of tyranny of majority, I was so fearful of these civilian wars and instability in societies where societies are not democratic but democracy is introduced. I am so fearful. This is why, this is why I am saying this as limitation or my advice that do not introduce democracy everywhere. It is a gift to be earned. ठीक है? Now, further, let's think. Chalo, agree. Let's agree for 1 minute that you are right. That that could happen. But what about your society? How will you implement it there? Let's say you have this much people, out of which these are rich, these are poor. Now what will you do? Will you not give them right to vote? You will have to give them. But is this the condition? Understand? You will never see any graph or chart where distribution of wealth is such as that these many people are rich and these many are poor. You will never find it. How capitalism work is that it concentrates wealth. It starts concentrating wealth together and together. ठीक है? See today, New York, London, in India, let's say Mumbai. These cities develop जहाँ पे total wealth is. ठीक है? Singapore. ठीक है? You won't find wealth in Indore. You will find riches there. You won't find accumulation of wealth. Okay? So understand, the society that Mill would want that democracy to work. What kind of democracy? Representative democracy. ठीक है? What is the method of coming towards law? अब भाई representative है तो they will engage in debate. Deliberative. Understand? This society will not have majority of rich. It will, if capitalism is there, some will be rich and others will be poor. So this is a condition. Here also, how do you do it here? If you are poor, most probably you do not have enough money to get educated well. Sure, opportunity will be there, but it won't be that you can compete with him. Now, how do you rectify this situation? So, Mill comes up with voting system where you make sure, see, the whole system of democracy, representative democracy, so that You give more authority or legitimacy to your property owning right, laid forward by Locke. Locke का मेन एम क्या था? प्रॉपर्टी, प्रॉपर्टी लॉज. फॉर whom? कैपिटलिस्ट. ताकि वर्कर्स डू नॉट फील कि भैया एवरीथिंग इज अगेंस्ट देम. बट मिल थॉट कि भाई property is not the complete thing for liberty. Man will be at liberty if worker feels like I can also someday become a money. I can also start my own, मेरा खुद का business, right? If he can think like that, then he won't ever feel any feeling of hatred toward this capitalist while he's working for him. He will always feel कि भाई I can also become like him ना. That liberty Mill is giving. Understand this thing. This is a dream that he wants these poor uneducated to have. But obviously, with this dream, these rich can start becoming richer and richer. But problem is, these poors will elect someone from their side only if voting is equal, and man can come who can destabilize Hitler. ठीक है, tyranny of majority could come on these minority rich. What you are afraid of? Tyranny of majority. I never said religious majority, any kind of majority. Poor are more, majority, minority are less. Rights are there to protect. Rights are there to protect minority. Who is right for? Minority. Rich. See this game. You can switch it at that side, you can shift it at here. This is politics. Just try to use logic. You can just derive anything from here or there. Okay, nothing is true anywhere. And if that is understood, what he would want is a voting system which is weighted in nature. Basically, one man from here should not have one vote, count as one, and one man from here should not have that as one. Here, weight should be more, maybe 5 or 6. Why? These are less and they are reasonable, they have property, they give more taxes, so basically their vote should count more. America, what was the cause of revolution? Because Britain was not allowing America to send representative in British Parliament. USA was colony of Britain. Now British Parliament में you were not allowing America, USA to send a representative, but you are taking taxes. And in Britain there is law, no taxation without representation. इसलिए अमेरिका रिवोल्टेड, सॉल्ट से स्टार्ट करा दे टू. ठीक है, सॉल्ट टैक्स. If you won't have representation from my area, we won't be paying tax. Simple rule. What does this mean? If I'm paying more tax, the more representation give it to me. Logic. So weighted voting. Now weighted voting you will give to educated ones, educated, or let's say propertied class. ठीक है. Plus if you are you are of state of Jammu and Kashmir, let's say, and there is election in Tamil Nadu. Can you vote in Tamil Nadu? No, but you will say, but I have house at Tamil Nadu. You will say, so you won't. Where you live, you vote there. What Mill suggests is plural voting. Understand? I am rich. I have lots of properties. I do not have property only at one place. I have lots of property. I have property at London. I have property at Scotland. I have property at Ireland. It matters to me. It matters to me what laws are being created there. Here, here, here. Because I will be impacted. Who am I? Minority. So you can vote wherever you have property. ठीक है? So even more than one constituency you can vote. Now proportional representation. What was the first thing that we did? Weighted voting. That is, if you rich, you are voting because you are minority. Your one vote will have value of, let's say, 5 points. And if you are poor, uneducated, your one vote will be count as zero point 0.5 points. ठीक है? Weight is different. Proportional means your representation in parliament will be according to your group. No. Understand? In India, you try to think, and instead of rich, you try to think as rich as caste, not even caste. Let's say sections of society, SC, OBC, ST. They have representation in Lok Sabha according to how much percentage they consist of as a whole population of India. ठीक है? Let's say OBC 50% है मान लो. 50% should ideally be OBC's representative in parliament, because parliament is nothing but, let's say, a miniature India. Sole purpose of deliberating. They debate and raise issues. This is proportional. Okay. Now understand. Fearful. Fearful you were. Hence you gave such various, let's say, not fully you went democratic, you gave certain kind of limitations. ठीक है? You made sure that your well-wishers, who are your well-wisher, what class you are representing, capitalist, rich people, ठीक है? Their agenda you are moving forward with. They are forwarding capitalist agenda. Okay. And upper house, lower house. Upper house is House of Lords. In United Kingdom ऐसे समझो, राज्यसभा, लोकसभा. House of Lords. Lords are like their dukes. Like king's family people, let's say. You are also suggesting that you make this house more powerful. Why? Because this house will be This house will be filled up of, let's say, those medieval time people, उनके उनका, let's say, remaining aristocrats, who are aristocrat, rich. So think again. At one time, you are starting with, let's say, man, liberty, freedom of speech and expression. Basically, such a nice guy you are seeming, talking about man for his liberty, which is a precondition for development, for his whole personal development. And at same time, you are restricting freedom by giving too much power in the hands of rich. So kind of inconsistent you are. Again, just like when you started with defending utilitarianism, but ended up destroying utilitarianism, which is not completely destroy, more like reform, more human and more human and moral. You made it. Okay. And we see, I think, what reluctant democrat means. Okay. Because understand, you are not giving empowerment to people. You are not giving it. You are thinking that everything. See, what was the need for voting, weighted voting? What is the need for proportional? What is the need for strengthening House of Lords? That is the upper house, so that democracy does not become tyranny of majority. But for using that same principle, aren't you giving too much power to the minorities? Minority rich, tyranny of minority, tyranny of minority. And understand again, you are not treating poor equally, you are not treating people equally. At some level, you are trying to defend the interest of rich by calling them minority. Rich ko you can call rich, but you are using minority word for rich. Is it our fault that rich are in minority? The economic system is like that. Capitalist system, one person owning factory, 10 workers working, only he is earning profit, they are earning salary. Is it our fault? ठीक है? Isn't it same as one person having field, lot of field, he is called zamindar, people working in farm. Isn't it same? Isn't it old wine in new bottle? Just think about it. And empowerment of people, you are, see, when we are talking about liberalism, it is about empowering person. कि भाई, you become free, you when you are free, when you have liberty, then only you can have utility. This was becoming very prominent, hence इस पे फिर से focus you are bringing. Liberty, opportunity. If you are not even free to do some action, you won't be able to grasp the opportunity. And any opportunity, whether good or bad, Result is you learn something, that is, you develop. So, development precondition is opportunity, utility. If that thing is clear, understand? Well, is treating democracy as gift, not just any gift. Freedom of speech and expression. He was talking gift of God to men. Now, using that only, you are laying forward your democracy, not just any democracy, representative democracy, because you know your capitalists will be working their labors. Your labors won't be free to lay issues because they do not understand. They will think that rich are exploiting them or fooling them, whatever may be the reason. But your justification is working for those rich, those capitalists. And then you are saying that why democracy should not be treated as a free gift, it should be earned. So basically, according to you, we are not fit for democracy. We do not have society. ठीक है? Plus, it should not be a free gift. And you are saying this with justification that you are fearful. Acha, cool. If you are saying this much, then we will believe you. What basically I want to say is that he is treating democracy too much than it is. He is treating democracy as end in itself. ठीक है? इतना हुआ है नहीं democracy. What was democracy for Aristotle? Best form, polity. Best practicable form, democracy. Remember, best best form, polity. Best practicable form. नहीं sorry, best practicable is polity. उसका corrupt form is democracy. ठीक है? Rule of fools, which we have in India. No doubt in that, but democracy is not the end. For us, India, democracy is just means. End क्या है? Betterment. Betterment or let's say well-being of citizens. That is us, Indian people. ठीक है? So this is one of the major criticism of J.S. Mill. ठीक है? Now if that is clear, one last part. He is one more important contribution that he gave was he talked about right to क्यों नहीं चलता ये right to vote, not just for poor. He also talked about women. And how do we talk about it? His view on slavery. Now, for him, slavery is a bad thing. It is not right, not acceptable. And in the world, see, USA, वहाँ पे slavery issue pending. चलो, never mind. But slavery banned in most of the places in the world. But according to him, one form of slavery was still pending, which was still ongoing. What was that? Slavery of women. And Slavery of women is so universal in nature that it seems very natural when we will study the only female philosopher, Hannah Arendt. We will see her using a word called banal. Now understand, her issue was that she wanted to know, नाजी के बाद की बात है, she wanted to know how come people, see Nazi Germany technically runs on a bureaucracy, basically IS वहाँ के and IPS. So let's say there was some Nazi IPS and he was the one executing Jews. And when this IPS officer of Nazi Germany was taken into court, Hannah Arendt wrote a big article, ठीक है, and I think, never mind what it was, Times or something. And in that basically she wanted to analyze how can a person conduct something so awful without feeling any remorse. Basically his answer was that he was following his duty, which makes sense. He was an IPS officer. He was following what orders were given to him. So she gives a term which is called banal. Banal is that something becomes so natural that you stop seeing it as very unnatural. ठीक है? You start seeing talks of people killing someone over cow. It is very unnatural thing. It is very foolish thing. You should be ashamed of this thing, killing people over cow. But it is natural. And we think of listening to these lynching news and we feel like okay, it is natural, normal. It is not natural and normal. It has become banal because we have seen too much of it. Similarly, the subordination of women is one kind of slavery which, according to him, has become too universal, seems too natural. ठीक है? And he wants to give right to vote to women because according to him, women is totally fit for participating in the affairs of the state. ठीक है? And understand again, male का main objective is liberty. Liberty is freedom. Now liberty is the precondition for utility. Liberty is opportunity. Opportunity to develop personal development. Now because you do not give women liberty, you do not give women opportunity, that is why we do not see them developing totally. And instead of total development, what they develop is feelings of insecurity. These are not my words, Mill's word, okay? Freedom of insecurity and other feelings which you see as negative feelings, negative traits. So it is not women's fault, it is our fault that we have subjugated them to four walls of family house. ठीक है? So because he is giving liberty, so obviously women also he will want to include. Whole of this doctrine is to get more and more people involved. Poor, see, you can become rich. You will have liberty. Rich, I have given you representative democracy. These are happy, stable, keep becoming rich, becoming richer. They will keep working for you. Half of these part is women. They are happy कि ये right to vote. ठीक है? So with this J.S. Mill is done. I will try to begin with Karl Marx. ठीक है, so to finish it, चलो bye bye.